Hello everyone, Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here for an addendum to yesterday's state of the game. So I made a lot of claims yesterday about the increased frame rate and about how amazing the game is playing on my system today. And I got called out. I got called out by a number of people saying that they're not experiencing the same frame rates and the same lack of lag that I am. So I put out a question to Brian Chambers, and hopefully I'll have that answer for you tomorrow when I film Ben's Day. But for the time being, I did do some research and I did find some information out that I can share with you. So the speed that you're getting inside of the persistent universe right now is a product of quite a number of different factors. Only one of them have I changed since the last version of the game, but I have played on the last version of the game underneath those conditions. So what I'm going to tell you is going to be very just short and sweet, and it might be able to help some of you out. So the first and foremost thing that's going to keep you from having massive amounts of lag and slow connection is going to be your connection to the internet. And that's going to come in three parts. What is your connection in your computer? What does it support? What version of Wi-Fi or what version of wired does it support? Are you connected wired or Wi-Fi? So that's A. B is the router that you have connected to your server. Was it provided by them, or is it a high-end gaming router? Is it something that's made for today's gaming experience? Or is it something that was given by Comcast, Charter, Cablevision, Time Warner, AT&T Uverse? Which one are you using? Because the all-in-one devices really aren't meant for gaming and may find themselves buffering, especially at different points of the day. Replacing it with a gaming router from Linksys, Netgear, D-Link, or any of the other companies that would be comparable to them will give you a better experience. And of course, the actual internet speed you pay for from those companies is going to have a huge effect on the game itself. So if you're under 5 megabits a second, which I doubt anybody that's playing online games would be, you're probably going to start to see a little bit of that buffering, a little bit of that slowdown, that lag. So make sure that you're on a connection of 25 megabits or over, 100 megabits or over for your best experience. And for those of you that want to stream like myself, anything over 300 megabits should do fine. Now, I do have a gigabit. The only thing that's changed in the course of the last year is I've run a wire from my Airport Extreme router to my bedroom, which gives me no lag whatsoever when I'm doing my streaming. And that's the only reason I did it. I don't have any way to say that that is the only thing that's affecting my frame rate issues right now, or the making my experience getting such great frame rates, because that is not different from the last two patches. I've had this for a little bit, and it's been horrible before this, and now it's good. All right. Lastly, the part that's on the player themselves is going to be the computer. You all know this. We don't need to touch on this. Having good hardware is an important part of this game. Having a current generation or previous generation processor, so 6th gen or 5th gen, from the Intel group would be awesome. There is 7th generation, not too much different from the 6th generation, so I'm going to leave that one out. But having a current generation processor or one back is actually going to be your best bet. If you're on AMD hardware like I was, yeah, my frame rate was just horrible on AMD hardware. That was the old AMD hardware pre-Ryzen. I can't believe Ryzen is going to give poor performance. It's probably going to give amazing performance. That's it. I mean, that's what you have that you can do. Those are the things you could change to make your connectivity better. And then there's the connection from CIG to the cloud, to the servers. the connection from us to them, and the coding on those servers. And right now, it's the netcode that's changed this time. And it's AWS that's letting them cluster the servers better, set up servers in different locales. So I believe that there's a lot of things that are making this easier for us. I don't know why there are some of you that are having lag issues. I don't know why there's some of you that are having frame rate issues. It may be one or all of the things I mentioned, or absolutely nothing like that at all. Maybe you're connecting to an East server when you're West Coast. Maybe you're connecting to a Central server in the US when you're in Europe. I don't know. You would have to look at that yourself. Oh boy, that was a lot to talk about, because in the end, it could be any of those, all of those, or none of those. You could have some obscure reason why you have lower frame rate. You could have malware, you could have other programs running in the background, you could not have the latest drivers on your video card. Things I wouldn't accuse any of the gamers here, any of the people that listen to my show, because I know that you're Star Citizen addicts. So you would have already had those things taken care of. So I was unable to identify why some of us, and you're going to see it here in the text roll on the upper left, totally unable to identify why some of us were having amazing times on this one server and some weren't. There's even a guy that was running at 4K and had a solid 30 frames per second without any drop, or at least he said. So there is a lot of things that are going right for me. And all of a sudden, at some point in this wonderful 2.5 to 3 hours worth of play, I forgot why I was there. And I just started enjoying the game. I got all the way through to the last mission, or the old last mission, of the ICC probe missions, the ones that Tessa sends you on, without a hitch. And then the game crashed. And the game crashed because of our thunderstorms here in Georgia. No other reason. I was just having an amazing time. Look at these graphics. Look how smooth everything is at 2.5K. It's just amazing. Alright folks, I know not everybody is getting this. And the game is an alpha. It is not optimized. It is not perfect yet. There's a lot more of a road, of a pathway to trot down, to walk down before this game comes out in its full glory. But I stopped playing the game, like I said yesterday. And I think it's because it was boring, because I was tired of having a horrible time in the PU. And finally, I'm having a great time in the PU. And although I did see frame drops from the 50s down to the 30s, I still had an amazing time with it. So this video took me a little bit away from what I wanted to do today, which was to be able to do a full review on the Buccaneer. And a lot of the clips I have from this today are going to appear in that review. But I'm going to tell you this right now, just like I said yesterday. Playing the Buccaneer was amazing. I played it for 2.5 hours and then some, and had a great time doing it, which is unusual because I like 3 ships. 3 ships. I like the Gladius and the Mustang Delta from my light ship. I deck them out with different weapons loadouts, test them out, take them out, and have a great time every time. But when people say, come on, let's go do Vandal Swarm together or Pirate Swarm, it's always my saber I take, because I love my saber. I have a lot of fun in my Delta, and I could say some of the most fun times I've ever had in the game, most of the most fun times I've ever had in the game have been inside my Mustang Delta. But when I need to get the job done, the end-all be-all has been my saber. Alright, this Buccaneer is nowhere near as good as the Sabre, but it definitely joins the ranks of amazing fun, which leaves me with a dilemma. As a volunteer for CitizenCon last year, I got a Herald. And I took the Herald out a couple of times this morning, and I can't see me liking the gameplay down the road. If I wind up liking the gameplay, I can get a Herald. But what I did was I wound up jumping into the Buccaneer, and when the Buccaneer was on sale last year, I bought 2 upgrades. I didn't buy the ship itself. I didn't think I was going to like it. I didn't think I was going to like the gameplay in it. So I bought an upgrade from a Gladiator to this, and an upgrade from a Herald to this. I hate to say this. Oh, it wasn't a Gladiator. It might have been a Gladius to this. I'm definitely 100% going to be upgrading that Herald to the Buccaneer. I have so much fun in it. I think it's going to join my stable. And it's going to be one of the most fun ships that I can fly at this point. All right, I think that's it. I stated my piece. I want to thank you all for your wonderful comments from yesterday's show. You really have helped me to look at the game again. I know that there's still some of you out there that watch my videos and just absolutely hate that the game isn't out right now and complain about it. And you know what? I'm going to tell you this. I know where you're coming from. I myself have been a little bit disappointed, and I've lost the will to be disappointed, so I stopped playing the game for a while. But I can play this alpha. And yes, there's still things that are amazingly frustrating, like losing your ship like that. But there's still things that are amazingly frustrating in the ship, in the game. Like going through the whole 6 or 7 missions of the ICC probe only to be dropped from the connection and to find out that quests still are not persistent. There should be a button when you first join the game, since it's an alpha, to clear the persistence of any quest that you were on so you could start over. It shouldn't just be that you start over every time. It seems like simple information that they could just put into a data capsule for when you load, it sees where you were with the different quests. But that's not something that they have put in. So every time you jump in, you have to start from the scratch, and that's very frustrating. But nonetheless, they've made strides, and I think they need kudos for that. And I'm very happy with where they're going. And I said this yesterday, so I'm not going to say it again. Thank you all, every one of you that gave me the opportunity to do this second video by calling me out on the frame rate. I really appreciate it, because I didn't want to be the one tooting the horn of CIG when it didn't need to be. So I will say this. The jury's still out on whether there's an issue or not. I believe that the people that told me that there's an issue are correct. They're having an issue. I just don't know why. And I'll figure that out over the next week as I talk to different people at CIG, and I'll bring you that information. So tomorrow night, I will be talking to Ben Lesnick. There is no Lightspeed Lunatics this week, as it is the first Friday of the month. And that means that I may be streaming on Friday night with or without my girls from Lightspeed Lunatics. With that said, you all be safe out there, and I will talk to you soon.